Okay, hello and welcome back to some information about the causes of World War One. So we're going to talk about alliances today and why alliances in isolation was one of the main causes of World War One. So we're not doing a summary, we're just doing alliances, and that's where we're going to start. Okay, the first place we have to go is what actually is an alliance. So simply put, an alliance is an agreement or a promise between countries. There can be many different types of alliances and reasons why countries would want to help each other out. The key is that alliances almost always involve an exchange of some kind. Countries rarely make alliances just to be nice. So you might have a military alliance where you support each other through your military. You might have an alliance where you are trading food and you are kind of, helping each other out in other ways that aren't necessarily just defensive or military. But there's always some kind of thing to gain here. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the reasons why these countries form alliances. So we have the issue of trade. If you're allied with a country, they're more likely to trade with you, and they might make a beneficial trade deal, so a better trade deal with you. Money, there could be gifts of money, there could be wealth to be gained here. Religion or ethnicity, so maybe if there's a country which is of the same religion as you or has the same ethnicity of you, as you might want to be, to form a kind of a beneficial relationship with them and to side with them rather than siding with people who aren't like you. Self-defense, so that idea of defense, and military, helping to boost your own military that you already have. And then maybe personal reasons or marriage. So, if we think about the Tudor king, and maybe our most famous Tudor king, Henry VIII, well, he made many of his marriages to try and boost these alliances. So if he's married to Catherine of Aragon, who is a princess of Spain, well, it's unlikely that Catherine of Aragon's relative, who's the king of Spain at that time, is going to attack Henry because, his aunt or his sister or whoever it is on the throne of England, and her children are the next in line. So that's why these countries kind of enter into these alliance relationships and these promises with each other. Okay, so let's go into a little bit more detail and give you some examples. Right, two countries might make an alliance so they can freely trade with each other. This might be food, natural resources, information sometimes. But in this example, each country gains something from the other they didn't have before. Another reason is money. A richer country might lend money to a poorer country. Then when the poorer country has a more stable economy, they can pay back the richer country and perhaps, give them some interest or some benefits with that payment. So the richer country, ends up gaining something. Religion and ethnicity are two examples of common interests that countries might share. Two countries who have the same religion or culture are much more likely to ally together rather than ally with an enemy or a different culture. We've seen often in more recent conflicts that, Arab countries might help each other out, whereas, if we think about what's been happening recently, well, we might think of potentially some of the wars in the Middle East. Well, in those situations, some of the countries involved in NATO and those kind of agreements, Britain and America, help each other out because they feel some kind of affiliation with each other's cultures in some way. And finally, we have the idea of, strategy and marriage alliances that I went through. So here is a demonstration of what countries' main interests and concerns might be. And we're going to think about if we can match up these countries. So I'm going to hopefully move out the way. And if you can't really see, then I'll talk about it as well. So you can always re-listen. Country A has lots of crops, but does not have a lot of money. Country B has a big army and a leader with lots of children. Country C, which is over here, feels unsafe and has a small army, but has a king who is looking for a wife. And country D is very wealthy, but does not have a lot of room to grow food. So I want you to think for a moment, how can we connect these countries? Which countries are most likely to ally with each other? So we've got big army, lots of children, lots of crops, but not a lot of money. Unsafe, small army, wants a wife, and is very wealthy, but does not have a lot of room to grow food. So, think about it. Who could he buy food from out of our four. So pause the video and just think for a moment to yourself how these four countries might ally up. Okay, so the answers. Country A is most likely to make an alliance with country D based on trade. Country A can get more money and country D can get more food. They're wealthy but want food, they have lots of crops, and they need money, so that works out perfectly. Country B is likely to make an alliance with country C, as it wants an ally with a big army and has many potential wives for the leader of C. Okay, so do we see how we can connect these countries up? That when you're thinking about alliances, you don't just pick random, random countries at random, but you think about it. And the leaders of these countries think about what they can get, what they want, and what they can offer in terms of how they might go about making these alliances. Okay, in reality, countries make lots of alliances, and because we don't all just have one alliance, it means that countries are drawn into things and pulled into arguments and conflicts they may not necessarily be directly involved in. So I've got one more example for you, and again, hopefully you can see it, and if you can't quite make it out, I'm going to vocalize it, I'm going to speak it, so hopefully we can get it. So the blue country that I've got up here, country blue, is a big, powerful country with a strong army and lots of money. They are naturally likely to form an alliance. Sorry, let me just go through what it says. I forgot that I said I'd do that. So blue, Catholic, located in the north, very rich, big army, but always looking to expand south. Our yellow country over here, again, are Catholic, located in the north, lots of advanced technology. And finally, our red country down here, if I move out the way, located in the south, small, surrounded by enemies, but rich in natural resources. So they have that benefit to them. Now going back to how this might work. Blue, a big, powerful country with a big, strong army and lots of money. They are naturally likely to form an alliance with yellow because they are both Catholic and therefore have that common interest. Remember I said before that one reason for alliances is kind of religion or ethnicity, common reflection of culture. They are also both located in the same geographical area, so it makes sense that they might want to be friends. Additionally, yellow may be able to provide blue with some better technology that will make their army even better, and in return, blue might use that army to help defend yellow from an attack. On the other side, we can see red, okay? Now, red is in a different area of the country entirely, or of the world entirely, as it's in the south. And the red want a big, powerful army as an ally because it feels threatened by its neighbours in the south, because it's only a small and relatively quite weak country. But it does have lots of natural resources. So red is also likely to try and form an alliance with blue because they need help against their neighbours, and blue have that big, powerful army. In return, red can offer blue their natural resources, and blue would also like this idea of this alliance because it means they can increase and kind of develop that foothold in the south of this world where they want to expand to, okay? So at the moment, blue looks like it wants to make an alliance with yellow and with red. Okay, and that's exactly what they do. So blue make an alliance with yellow and blue make an alliance with red. Now, what that actually means in reality is that yellow and red are also tied together in some way, even though they didn't necessarily choose this and don't actually have their own official alliance. If red is attacked by its neighbours, blue will come to their defence. And once blue gets involved, they are likely to ask yellow to help them, okay? So we see how that alliance kind of triggers the involvement of yellow, because blue are allied with red, red needs help, they call in blue, blue uses yellow to help them, and so yellow come in as well. So we see how multiple alliances can draw in multiple countries into one conflict, even though they actually don't have any reason to be involved. Right, let's take this back to World War I, okay, so it's not so random anymore. I am in front of this map. We need to work out why all these alliances cause the war. So looking at the map behind me, I've got three sets of colours. I've got yellow colours, who are all countries that were allied together. So we've got France, United Kingdom, and Russia, Serbia as well. The pink countries are all allied with each other, so predominantly Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Bulgaria as a part of that. And then finally, the countries in blue are what we call neutral countries. Now, neutral means they don't take a side in the war. So Switzerland is a very famous country for being neutral. The Netherlands were also neutral, and Spain was also neutral at this time. Okay, so they don't get involved in the war or the alliances. We're going to start with the pink countries. So first thing to notice is there are obviously less of them. The main ones are Germany and Austria-Hungary. Now, they're both quite big countries, and if we look at their geographical position on our map, it makes sense, let me move out the way, it makes sense that they would want to be friends or allies as they share a very big border with each other. There we go. They also both border Russia, very, very big, powerful country, which they're, fearful of. So being together kind of tries to combat that threat from Russia. Austria-Hungary is declining in power and wealth at the moment. So they want to ally with a strong country with a big military. Now, in terms of what we know about militarism and Germany, we know Germany have been building up their military. They've been engaged in the arms race and the naval race with Britain. And so they have got a powerful army at the moment. They're also natural allies because they share a similar culture, a religion, an ethnicity, a Germanic people. And so all of those things we thought about when we thought of why you make alliances. Germany and Austria-Hungary are ticking quite a few of them. We've also got Bulgaria, and Austria-Hungary seeks an alliance with Bulgaria because they're worried about the pan-Slavic threat in this area. Now, if you saw the video I made on the summary and you saw the map I showed you with all the Slavic countries and how they want to come together, Austria-Hungary feels quite threatened by these Slavic countries. And so by having an alliance with Bulgaria, they're kind of implementing and creating an alliance with a country in the south, trying to expand their power in the south and trying to combat that pan-Slavic pressure that's building up around them. Okay, that's pink. Now, in terms of orange, there's quite a lot of them. So we're going to actually move on in a moment, and I'm going to put a flow chart behind me instead, and we're going to have a look at why these countries are all allied with each other. Right, here we go. Here are all the countries in orange, and I'm just going to quickly talk through why everyone's allied with each other. So, Serbia has an alliance with Russia, which is based off common ethnicity, both being part of that Slavic people we've talked about before, the pan-Slavic-ism. Russia has an alliance with France, mostly based off economic benefits, France, money and trade, things like that. France has an alliance with Belgium. This is to do with their location. When we go back to the map, we can have a look again, but they're close together, and so they seek that alliance for kind of defensive reasons. Belgium has a treaty with Great Britain, which dates back over 70 years, so it's a very strong kind of historic legacy of an alliance. Now, in a moment, I'm going to go back to the map, but just reflect on this a minute. Serbia is technically has some kind of relationship with Great Britain, even though they don't have in any way an alliance with each other. Okay, and they're this many steps away from each other. And hopefully that shows you a bit like dominoes, how if one falls into the other, they're just going to pull each other in. So let me return to the map just for a moment. Right, I said I would talk to you about France and Belgium. So France is this country here, and Belgium is just up here. So there's an obvious reason why they allied together, isn't there? Right, let's draw all of this together. Why does this whole thing cause war? Well, if we start with Austria-Hungary, when Austria-Hungary declare war on Serbia, following the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, a kind of domino effect, like I just spoke about, happened with the countries in orange. Serbia allied with Russia, so Russia steps in to help. Russia's ally is France, so France have to step in as well, and they become involved. The countries in pink then start to invade France and Belgium, Belgium becomes involved, and Great Britain are allied with Belgium, and so Great Britain become involved, okay? And all these allies step in like dominoes to help out in their own individual alliances. In addition, we also have Albania and Romania, who are also in orange. So Serbia has been working with those countries prior to the war in terms of creating an alliance of the southern Slavic countries. Italy also gets involved. Italy's also in orange, if I move out the way, so you can see Italy down here. It begins as being neutral, but they come under pressure from other countries in orange, and they think it's a good idea to get involved, as they might gain some territory from Austria-Hungary right next door to them if they do. Okay, and that's really what happens. Alliances are a big reason for contributing to the start of World War One, and the reason that all of these countries get drawn in is because they've all been busy creating these individual alliances in the years before the war. And when that whole thing happens, it is a bit like a domino effect. One triggers another, triggers another, triggers another, triggers another. And finally, we get to a point where Great Britain, that has nothing to do with Serbia, are brought into this war because of that chain of alliances.